What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Keep It Kula Podcast. Owen, we have some Team Canada stuff to talk about today. Both men's and women's hockey. We'll talk mainly about that today, and then we'll do a little Blue Jays at the end. Gonna keep this one a little shorter. Right away, USA beat Canada in overtime, 3-on-3 overtime. To mention, gold medal game of the Olympics. Jack Hughes of the New Jersey Devils, someone who actually lived in Toronto for a couple years, but he's an American, scored the game-winning goal. You were not happy. I wasn't happy, but you were devastated.
Yeah, Jaclyn, pleasure to be back here as always.
Yeah, thanks for
Devastated.
having.
Yeah, I mean, devastated beyond belief. I mean, I think I texted you like some crazy stuff, like if Suzuki got the game winner, I don't even know if I'd see the sun tomorrow because I'd be partying so much and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest part of my devastation, Jaclyn, was how much better we are than them. Like, honestly, Jaclyn, to put it into like comparison, I felt like we're a D1 team and they're D3. And I really mean that. I'm not just saying that. Like we skated circles around them. Like truly skated circles around them. We dominated them. McDavid misses a breakaway. Celebrini misses a breakaway. McKinnon misses an empty net. Taves misses an empty net. Canada doesn't capitalize on a 5-on-3. We could have won that game like 5-1, 6-1, 4-1, 3. Like we could have had that game in the bag. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable is the word, you know?
You know what? That McKinnon miss was McKinnon would never miss that. You know, he gets 100 chances, he makes 99 of them. 99.9 of them. You know, it's like just the fact that didn't work out, all the breakaway chances that they had, the shots on goal, as you said, skating around them. Like, Canada is a much, much better team. The talent on this team is unbelievable, this talent. And the fact that they went home with a silver medal, it was absolutely devastating. I want to talk about the women's hockey as well. Listen, going into that game, though, we were the huge underdog. USA has been absolutely unbelievable. That entire team, listen, they're young, they're hungry, great goalie. Canada is old. It's like they're just straight up an old team. And so, you know, it was devastating to see them lose in overtime because all of a sudden we had the momentum. But it's not the same as seeing the men's because the men, listen, the USA hasn't won since 1980. Wait, I haven't seen our guys lose. Like these NHL players in the Olympics of Team Canada lose. Like I only know the days where they won in 2010, 2014. So now to see my country being represented in an amazing way with an amazing team who I'm so proud of lose in that matter, it hurts. But there was some discourse going on I saw on social media about, is this as bad as a Blue Jays Game 7 World Series loss? Not in the slightest.
I will say, Jacqueline, just to jump to the women's really quickly, because I think I have to acknowledge that it was also a horrific loss in my opinion. I mean, we're up 1-0. They pull the
Yeah.
goalie. Yes, we were huge dogs. I think in betting sites we were like plus 400 and US was minus 500. But you're up 1-0. They pulled the goalie. I mean, that's another gold medal taken away, ripped from our throat. So, I mean, also a 2-1 loss, also in overtime. So that's two gold medals that Canada easily could have had if little bounces go different. Also, just a brutal, brutal loss. And yes, it's not the same thing because obviously the women's side was not nearly as good as the men's side. But the way the game played out, it also
No,
was just
huge
a
underdogs.
brutal loss. So, I mean, two awful losses. And I think to do the comparison between the Jays and the Olympics, I think it comes down to one thing, Jacqueline. Jays played for a whole season. There's a lot more commitment in a full season of baseball, but I actually think it just comes down to what sport you prefer. If you're a much bigger hockey fan, the Olympics is worse. If you're a much bigger baseball fan, then the Jays is worse. To me, they're both horrible, horrible losses. As you know, Jacqueline, I prefer hockey, but really they're both
Yeah.
awful, gut wrenching, just brutal, brutal losses. And really, it's the type of loss you'll think about for 4 years because we don't go back to the Olympics till 2030. Um,
Yeah.
I won't feel I won't feel satisfied with my Canadian hockey team until 2030. But it also makes you think, Jacqueline, the incompetence of John Cooper and the staff to not put Matthew Schaefer on that team when you have Drew Doughty, who didn't look great at stretches. And there was other guys, by the way. I don't want to start calling out all the defensemen, but I think Drew Doughty is kind of the obvious one where it's like he's old. Schaefer just should have been there. listen, in my
Yeah,
opinion,
yeah.
there's only
Listen,
one
Schaefer's having a great night as we speak. Yeah.
great night as you speak, but just great season. He has 18 goals. Let me just say this, Jaclyn, and I'll stick by this. And if the haters want to call me crazy and say I have mental health problems, they can say it. There's only one Canadian defenseman that's better in the entire world than Matthew Schaefer, and his name is Cale Makar. The only person in the world. So you left out the second best defenseman in the world, or at least second best Canadian defenseman in the world because of his age. I think that's inexcusable. I'm not saying they win the gold medal. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'm just saying as a fact that you left out the second best Canadian defenseman in the world, and he should have been on that roster.
Yeah, I know. Listen, a lot of it came down to his age. He's a rookie. But, looking at Celebrini, him making the team was, oh, is he gonna get a lot of playing time? There was that question, and Celebrini was the other than McDavid, Celebrini was the best player in the entire Olympics. He broke these records. Man, he's 19 years old and he looked like a veteran out there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable stuff that we saw from Celebrini. I'm heartbroken for him to have lost that way. Like you saw it on his face. Man, watching them get their silver medals, like standing like that, and then having to get the doll that they give you after was so hard to watch because I'm like, no way they're making these guys stand there for 40 minutes watching the other team celebrate. We're gonna talk about that whole, Jack Hughes and all that, but like McKinnon's face when he was given the doll, man, I've never seen a look like that in my life. Brutal.
Some of your viewers might be poker players or poker fans. In poker, it's like called a needle. I don't know if you've heard of it, Jacqueline, before. Like a needle. It's almost like in gambling or in poker, if you win let's say you beat your opponent for $1,000 pot, right? You should just take the money and just keep your mouth shut. But a needle is like if you say to your opponent after, let's say you took 500 off them, you say, "Oh, you played that great." It's called like the little extra jab, the needle. So to me, the silver medal is like it hurts. That little doll that they're given is the needle. Is like the screw you. Like we're not only going to give you your silver, we're going to give you a doll. That's like the little needle. So if you're a gambler, some of your fans might know, Jacqueline. That's the extra little needle at the end. If it wasn't bad enough, yeah, I mean, just
Tough.
brutal. And Jacqueline, the really tough part I will say for both the men's and women Canadian hockey players is that it's gold or bust, right? So, for example, like I know Mikhail Kingsbury was disappointed with his silver in the moguls, but it was still an amazing accomplishment. And it's like, wow, like he was really fantastic. He lost on a tiebreaker. It's not like gold or bust necessarily. It's like silver is still a great accomplishment. Coming home with a silver, you should have just left your silver in Italy. Don't even bring it on the plane.
Yeah.
Like that's like some people don't understand like the level of of what we expect out of our Canadian hockey players on the men's and women's side. It's like the silver is valueless. The silver is garbage. If anything, bronze is better. But at least bronze, Jacqueline, they won the game. They didn't lose gold.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like
I don't get it.
There's no value in silver. It's awful. It's a failure, and it's devastating. Totally devastating.
Yeah, so devastating stuff. Obviously, McKinnon was broken after that, and we see McDavid get the C in this game. Sidney Crosby had to leave the semis with a lower body injury. It's now revealed that he's gonna be out for 4 weeks, anyways. But it was revealed that he wasn't gonna play in the gold medal game, and Connor McDavid obviously got the captain role, and I thought that was awesome. He didn't necessarily play great in that game. And he's now 0 for 3 in these championship games in the past 2 years. Lost twice against the Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Now he won 4 Nations last year, but I mean, these like Olympics and Stanley Cups. He can't beat Tkachuk clearly, which is one thing. And what does this mean for Connor McDavid's legacy? Because I'm on this wavelength that McDavid is going to go down as the greatest hockey player of all time. I think a lot of people can see glimpses of that he can become the greatest hockey player of all time, but he cannot win in big moments. Last time he won was the World Juniors, I believe, and 4 Nations, but that's a new thing. If he cannot win a Stanley Cup or even a gold medal, his legacy is tarnished.
Yeah, you make a really good point, Jacqueline. I mean, well, let's look at Gretzky. Gretzky had, I don't even know how cups Gretzky had. Gretzky had cups, period. He had multiple, more than 2 Stanley Cups, I know for sure.
He had cups.
He had cups. I know he had 2 plus. I know he had cups, right? We know Crosby has 4 appearances, sealed the deal in 3 of those 4, 2 gold medals.
Yeah.
McDavid will probably go down as top 3 most skilled player ever. But in terms of legacy and in terms of, he won't be a Crosby or a Gretzky because Those guys had Stanley Cups. In terms of legacy, Jaclyn, he'll go down as top 3 most skilled, but he won't go down as a clutch
Yeah.
player. And, we talk about it a lot, Jaclyn, and I think you'll appreciate this comparison I'm about to make. You feel the pain of a Charles Barkley, right? Like, you see Shaq, how whenever him and Shaq are arguing, Shaq goes, yeah, but I
Yeah.
have rings. Shaq goes, I have rings. That's all Shaq has to say, yeah, but I have rings. You don't. Like, to me, Jaclyn, you just need one. You just need one, right? Like, if you can get one championship, they can
Yeah.
never take it away from you. And then it's like, okay, like, you're a winner for the rest of your life. So to me, all McDavid needs is one Stanley Cup championship, and he's fine. But it's like, can he get that? For example, Jaclyn, Alex Ovechkin. How many Stanley Cups does Alex Ovechkin have, Jaclyn?
One.
Just one, and that's all he needs. It's fine because the rest of his life he's still a
Yeah.
champion. He will retire a Stanley Cup champion. Sure, he might look back and go, "Man, I wish we were able to capitalize on more chances." But really, Jaclyn, all that matters is that if he is ever on a panel, let's say Alex Ovechkin joins a panel one day, the guy beside him can't look at him and say, "Yeah, but you have no
Okay.
rings." No, no, no. He's a champion. The rest of his life, he's a champion. So I really hope McDavid does not turn into a Charles Barkley. I really hope not. It would be sad that the
Yeah.
greatest, one of the greats ever.
Listen, if David doesn't win, then he continues being in that category, as you said, with Charles Barkley. Barkley gets to sit next to Shaq. Well, Shaq has the accolades. Barkley
Yeah.
doesn't. Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Did not win a Super Bowl. Right? Allen Iverson, one of the most influential players in sports history, did not win a championship. It affects your legacy, no question. No one cares about the MVPs and the this and the that. You need to win a championship, right? Because you're in a league to win. That's why you're drafted. That's why you're paid the big bucks. That's why everything goes to winning. And if you cannot win, then your legacy is tarnished. Even if you have all the talent in the world, it doesn't matter. You will not be remembered the same way when you think about the greats. So that's how I feel about McDavid. I want to move on to Team USA. Got to give them their flowers, I guess. Jack Hughes, man. I don't think anyone has ever had more aura in their life than Jack Hughes after scoring that gold medal game winner in overtime. You saw the photo of him with the American flag, the fist up, the broken teeth. It was the coolest photo I've ever seen in my life, unfortunately. It was the coolest freaking photo I've ever seen in my entire life. Man, imagine McDavid had that moment where he had a broken freaking tooth, the Canadian flag, overtime winner. Like, I would have that printed and framed behind me as I speak right now. Seriously.
I will caution the coolest ever because I don't think it even touches Crosby on home soil. The Golden Boy, he's in his prime on home soil in Vancouver. I'm sorry, nothing matches, and that's not me being biased. If they were in Los Angeles, if they were in New York, if they were in Arkansas, whatever, Arkansas is so random. I don't know why I said that. The point being, if they were on American soil is what I mean. I like how I just threw out Arkansas after like these huge cities.
I love it. Arkansas.
So random. But if they're on home soil, I agree. But I'm sorry, there's nothing like Crosby in the corner when he throws the picture of him throwing the gloves up in the air and all the guys, Ginla and all the guys are tackling him. A young Crosby in his 20s. I'm sorry, this is not even close. It doesn't touch. And if an American wants to make the argument, they can't because they know it's not the same thing in Italy versus being on home soil. So it's one of the cooler moments, but it doesn't match up to Crosby. That's all I'm going to say, Jaclyn.
The moment itself is better with Crosby, but the photo of Hughes, though, because during the celebration, it wasn't like, I don't even know the goal photo. Like, I don't care. Like, that's irrelevant if there even is one. I'm talking about the photo that's everywhere where you're just, like, excited about it and, like, celebrating. That's what I mean. But yes, that Crosby goal is, nothing will defeat that of, like, the great, the kid. But that Hughes photo.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that Hughes photo was insane. If I was American, I'm gonna have that printed immediately and framed. No question. I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt, on hats. Every frat house across Michigan is gonna have that, obviously, because he's a Michigan boy. So like in Ann Arbor, that I am sure that will be on a billboard or a mural somewhere in Ann Arbor of Jack Hughes doing that in that photo. Listen, Austin Matthews is a gold medal winner. Okay, I don't think that matters in the Leafs. I know he had that press conference with Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes. You saw that where
Yeah.
they kind of mentioned about, like, what a winner, and like Quinn and Jack kind of chime in being like, Toronto media, Austin Matthews is the winner. It's like, like, what? He hasn't won a Stanley Cup. I know he was the captain, but he did not win them that gold medal game. He had solid defense, sure. But I still don't think he's a leader who can win.
I mean, and sorry to interrupt you there, Jaclyn. I mean, I was just going to say, if anything, it's worse, right? He wins for Team US when the Leafs fans want him to lose. But when it comes to winning for them, he's a total choke artist. It actually makes it a hell of a lot worse. Because if I'm in the media, I'm like, oh, Austin, it's so interesting. Like, you come up clutch and your team wins the gold medal. But then in Toronto, you just can't do anything for the life of you. It's actually much, much worse. It's not even like neutral. If I'm a Leafs fan, I'm tortured by this. It feels way, way worse.
It's tough.
Right?
It's
Like,
tough. It's tough watching your guy. Yeah.
it's kind of a twisted irony where it's like, oh no, it's actually much worse. Your guy just burned you again. Um, it would be even worse if he scored the golden goal, right? If he gets the golden goal, it's like, oh my god, that's awful. Yeah, that would just been awful. But I think the one thing we have to discuss, Jonathan, if we're going to bring up Team US, is the moment with Gaudreau, right? Like with Matthews and Tkachuk holding Johnny Gaudreau's jersey. I will say,
Yeah.
we love Canadians. One of our favorite things to say, oh, we're good Canadian boys. They're classy. They're this. Americans, they're cocky. I'm going to say, like, to their credit, it's one of the greatest, classiest moves I've ever seen in sports history. Like, not professional, not just in just sport. In my life, in my 27 years of life, Jaclyn, it's one of the great gestures I've ever seen with them carrying around the Gaudreau jersey. Amazing moment.
That is when you realize that there's some, like, this is so much more than a sport, and how like little it means in that moment of like the hockey game. That was one of the classiest things I've ever seen. It was emotional, it was beautiful, it was heartbreaking. They brought out Johnny's kids, his son's, it was his second birthday. Like, you just get chills watching that. And now it's like, talking about that, it's like, gosh, why do you even care about the freaking gold medal game anymore? Because there's so, it's like you're reminded, like, oh, like, this isn't life, this hockey game. Yeah, we love it and it's awesome and it's great, but like, this right here was so, so special. And it's something that I think sports will never forget, and they shouldn't, of honoring someone. And listen, I don't like most of those guys on Team USA. I have a lot of opinions on the Kachuk brothers, as most people do. A lot of women do as well, for various reasons. I don't like them. However, in that moment, nothing, it's classy. You applaud them. That's an amazing thing, and I will have respect for them for that, because they didn't think of, they wasn't this moment. They knew Johnny was supposed to be there, and they made sure to honor him in the best way that they can. So 100% nothing but respect for those guys in that moment. However, a lot of it was tarnished. We saw on social media, social media is honoring Team USA. And then the locker room phone call that went viral with Trump. Listen, people have their, yeah.
I wanted to touch on that, Jacqueline. I knew you were going to say that, and I want to give my take on that without getting too political. I know you don't want to go too political, and I won't here. But we saw the phone call. We saw Kash Patel. I think that's his name. I hope I'm not getting it wrong. I believe it's Kash Patel, director of FBI. We saw him in the locker room. We saw the phone call. We saw the offsetting comment about the women's team, which people have different takes on, kind of how to interpret that. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. I really think it's important to say this, Jacqueline. I don't think that moment should be affected by what happened in the locker room after. I think a
No,
a superstar American hockey player and his brother were tragically killed by a drunk driver, and Tkachuk and I believe a lot of other players were very close friends with him, and obviously fellow Americans to him. And that amazing moment, that selfless moment, bringing the kid, bringing the jersey around the ice, I don't think should be affected by the locker room moment. And the reason I say that, Jacqueline, is I think a lot of people have tried to conflate it and have tried to say, oh, they're trying to be these virtuous people, and then they're kind of laughing at Trump's jokes and whatever you want to call that. I just think it's important that we recognize what they did beforehand with Gaudreau's kid and with the jersey shouldn't be conflated with what happened in the locker room. I actually am more comfortable if you maybe comment on what happened in the locker room because you are female and there were comments made about the American women's team. So if you want to comment, I feel more comfortable you making those comments,
Yeah.
Jaclyn. But I think you agree with me that we shouldn't
Yeah.
conflate
So
those two things, right?
no, because very different moments. It doesn't take away the fact that they did something beautiful for Johnny Gaudreau, and that should be honored forever. The thing with the locker room, yeah, it's its own separate thing. I wouldn't mix the two. Yeah, I didn't love it. Obviously, I don't talk politics on this, but I have spoken about American issues before on this podcast. I started this podcast back in 2020 when there was a lot of stuff going on in the world, and there still is, and we had conversations, and so I'm not going to get to it, but I think people have an idea of how I feel about some stuff. But I listen, it's an interesting debate going on. It's all over Twitter. It's like you can't get off of it, and it's a lot right now actually of the discourse of it all. I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with the reaction. As a woman who played sports my whole life, and someone who was excited to see the rise of sports, and a woman who's in sport media, and I want to have respect the way that men have in this industry, that it hurt to see these guys laugh at Trump, making this joke about inviting the women. These women deserve all the credit. They are an amazing talent. They've worked harder than these guys to get to this spot, because there wasn't hockey leagues for us. When I was growing up, there wasn't a big hockey league for me. I only knew women's hockey because of Wickenheiser on Team Canada. That's how I knew women's hockey. So to now have women who are big names now because the PWHL helps out, whatever, all that good stuff, to have these guys that say that they're good friends with these girls laugh at that wasn't cool to me at all. But I don't think they're all bad guys. I think it was heat of the moment, right? They're speaking to someone who was the president, whether, you like him as a president or not. I think they know that they're in a position where they just won gold medal for their country, and the president of that country is calling them. So they want to look good, Listen, them going to the White House, them going to the State of the Union, there's other opinions on that, And so I think there's a big discourse going on. I think don't tarnish what they did for Johnny, because that should be in its own thing. But you don't have to like the guys. I don't like the Kachuk brothers.
Yeah.
They've said a lot of mean things, and they've
Yeah.
disrespected women as well in their podcast, and I don't appreciate that. I'm rambling a little bit, but all I'm going to say is, if I won gold medal, I don't know if I would have gone there. I don't know if I would have done that. Probably would have just gone home and, whatever. But I don't think they're villains for that. I don't think that they're terrible people who hate women. But the moment sucked, and it sucked for women in sports. That's what I'll say.
I'll say this, Jaclyn. I don't want to say too much. You summed it up really nicely, and as a female yourself who's in the sports world now, I think you summed it up really well. I'll just to make quick comments. Like I think that the comments disappointing from Trump. Like before we even get to the players, it's yeah. I mean, it's Trump. He said so much worse, right? Like whether you love him or you hate him, he said much worse things than that. We can all acknowledge. So I don't think it's shocking that he said it. Um, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a stupid comment by him. I think the players, it's a bit of a weird situation. They probably shouldn't. I don't know
Yeah.
how they're supposed to react. The laughing isn't great. Um, I personally, regardless of the politics of administration, like if I was, let's say, on Canada and I was invited by Carney, regardless if I like Carney or dislike him, I personally would go. So I actually don't fault any players
Yeah.
for going because my whole thing is take out the politics. It's a huge honor to go to the White House, huge honor to go
Yeah.
to go to government, like the highest form of government in whatever country you're in. I think it's a huge honor. Um, so I don't think it's necessarily a problem they went. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that whole locker room moment, the laughing after they make the joke about the women's team, I think that's disappointing. Because I think it's disappointing for the U.S. women's team because it's like, well, we also won a gold medal. We also worked really hard, and now for you guys to sort of make it seem like it's less than is totally frustrating. I think uncalled for and overall just not a great situation. They both won gold medals. You don't really need to.
No.
It should be equal, right? Like it should be an equal kind of footing thing. They're both amazing
Yeah.
accomplishments. There's no need to kind of put one down to build one up, right? So I'm
Yeah,
with you.
but listen, we are still in a world though where the men's sports is going to be talked about more than the women's, and I understand that. I'm not shocked by that, but it just feels like no one cares that US won. Listen, it would have been a different story if women's US won and men's Canada won. Then the women would be getting so much praise going back home, and it'd be great. So, but I also understand why the men's is bigger. It's the first time the NHL players are back in since 2014. As a woman, I admit that. Obviously, I love watching the women's hockey as equal as much I love watching the men's, but there's a difference. I understand. I get it. I know the state of the world we're in. But because we are seeing a rise in women's sports, which is amazing, like the WNBA is coming to Toronto, I can't wait for it. I think women's sports is fantastic to watch. I also know that we're not there yet as a society. People aren't going to be there. Don't take away the moment they have with Johnny, but also, you can be mad about the reaction because it sucked. Other than that, Jack Hughes looked cool as hell with his broken tooth and that USA crew neck. I'm so jealous that we didn't get that moment. Jack Hughes is the coolest freaking guy in the world right now. Would you have thought Jack Hughes would score the gold medal winning goal?
The Hughes brothers are scary, right? Like Quinn scored the game winner against Sweden. So my answer is yes. My answer to Hughes actually yes. They're scary. They're great. They're elite players in the NHL. So my answer is yes. I could totally have seen that happening. I think Quinn is probably a little bit of the better player. So I maybe would have thought it would have been Quinn. But either way, they're both fantastic. And for me to summarize everything you said, Jaclyn, you put a nice bow on it. I'll just say both accomplishments should be celebrated equally. That's my opinion. The women's side, the men's side, I don't think either need to be torn down. They're both great accomplishments, and it is too bad kind of the way it played out. But if that's for me, if you reverse it and it's on the Canada side, right? Let's say the Canada men won the gold medal and the Canadian women won the gold medal. I'd be like, there are heroes coming home for me on both sides. They're heroes, So that's the way I feel.
Exactly.
I don't know if you want to get into some Jays or whatever else you want to.
I do want to quick. I know we're running a little late on this one, but I know we're talking hockey, crazy stuff, but we have to talk about the Trump thing. I know everyone you have to talk about it, no matter people who are watching this. If you like Trump, if you hate Trump, if you don't have opinion, this was a big moment in that we saw in sports, and it's a big moment for women's sports as well. So just show some love to women's sports, spread love to everybody. We live in a scary world right now, so spread love to everyone. Something that's making me very happy, though, even with Canada losing and all that stuff. The Blue Jays are back. It's spring training. Vibes are so high. We're seeing all our guys. And Max Scherzer. Do not all season last year. Vibes are high. Vibes are high.
We're we're 0.01 in and the vibes are already high. 0.001 into the season. Vibes are already high, Jaclyn.
Vibes are high. Vibes are high because Max Scherzer is back for one more year at least. The Blue Jays re-signed Scherzer. He is coming back. We have a lot of great pieces on pitching this season, much better than last year. I don't know how Scherzer's going to work. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but having Scherzer on this team is so much more than him playing. It's the presence. It's the veteran presence. Imagine getting to learn like Yasavage, who's actually technically entering his rookie year, which is crazy to think of, is going to learn from one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Having Scherzer on this team is so important, no matter if he throws the ball once or if he throws it 1,000 times. I don't care. Him being on this team changes everything, and the vibes are high again. What do you think of Scherzer being back?
I don't know, Jaclyn. The best word I could use for the Jays. I'm aggravated. They made some good moves. They got some great pieces. They didn't do what we needed them to do, right? They didn't get Bo.
Yeah.
I'm aggravated by the Jays. Yeah, I think Scherzer was good. I don't think he's that good anymore. I'm going to be really frank here. We have to go to you being positive, me being negative about the Jays. That's how it works. If we change it up, then they're not going to have luck this year. So let's stick with the script here. I'm not thrilled with the Jays. They added some great pieces. They did. They should still be competitive, but they are missing that one big bat, and I truly believe George Springer is not going to be as good this year. I said it on many podcasts, and I'll continue to say it. I think he's going to have a decline this year. So I really think they're going to be missing that one big bat in the lineup. I expect our pitching should be decent, but might not be quite as elite as it was last year. It really held up for us in many spots. I don't know. I'm not thrilled, Jaclyn. I know your vibes are high, and I like the, let's put it to the roof. I loved it. But look, I think we'll be competitive. I really do. I see us being a competitive team in the AL East, maybe the hardest or one of the hardest divisions of all time. Not even just going into this year, just such
Yeah.
a crazy hard division in general. But I think we fell short this offseason. Even with the great pieces we added, Jaclyn, I think we fell short. So if your vibes are extremely high, my vibes are like 6 out of 10. I think I'm like a 6 out of 10 on the vibes.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'll let you have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's spring training. It's just nice to see the guys back out there playing baseball again.
Yeah.
There's so much more going on though. There's the new the new ABS system will be coming into the season. So that'll be really cool to see. We'll talk more about that in another pod because we're running a little late here. But I'm excited. You know, hockey. I'm sorry your Habs lost tonight in overtime. I'm sorry about that. Leafs sucked against the Panthers, shockingly. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Blue Jay spring training stuff is awesome. Hockey is back to being normal again. It's weird the Olympics are over. We don't talk about the other Olympics, but that has all been amazing. But yeah, that's gonna do it. And big episode coming up next week, everybody. So I'm not gonna say anything right now. But thanks, Owen, again for coming on, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Jaclyn, thank you so much. Peace.